2022. I'd ask that you please call this meeting to order and rise for the invocation and pledge of allegiance from Ms. Terry Salter.
Thank you. Loving Heavenly Father, thank you for all that you have done, are doing, and shall do in our lives. Thank you, dear Lord, for yet another day to do your will for our lives. It is our hope that we all find our purpose. We come to you this hour asking for your blessings and help as we are gathered together. Guard our thoughts, decisions, and our hearts so that it glorifies you. We pray for guidance in the matters at hand and ask that you would clearly show us how to conduct our work with a spirit of joy and enthusiasm. Give us the desire to find ways to excel in our work, to take the city of Orange to levels never seen before. Lead us so that we may work together in a way that is always pleasing to you. Lord, you are the name above all other names, the King of Kings. We ask that you will forever cover us with your love, your kindness, your mercy forever and ever. Amen.
Amen. I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
Thank you, Ms. Salter. Good morning, everyone. On to item 3, motion. Motion finding that the advanced posting and notice requirements of Article 8.1200 of the Code of Ordinances of the City of Orange, Texas have been met in relation to all minutes and pending ordinances and resolutions on this agenda, and that the reading of such items be confined to the captions as are agreed upon by the ordinances and resolutions. Do I have a motion?
Motion.
Second.
Okay, we have a motion and a second. Mr. Burge?
Aye.
Ms. Hennigan?
Aye.
Ms. McKenna?
Aye.
Ms. Salter?
Aye.
Mr. Childs?
Aye.
And Mr. Bailey?
Aye.
Okay, item 4, citizen comments. At this time, comments will be taken from the audience on any subject matter, whether or not that item is on the agenda. All comments are limited to a maximum of 3 minutes for each speaker. Your comments are appreciated. As the Texas Open Meetings Act does not allow the council to respond to items not listed on the agenda, your comments will be duly noted by the council and forwarded to the appropriate department for prompt consideration. A member of the audience that desires to speak during the City Council's consideration of any specific agenda item is requested to notify city staff prior to the start of the meeting. At this time, the first name that I have on my list is Mr. Jason C. Maddox. Please come forward, state your name, address, and you have 3 minutes, sir.
My name is Jason Maddox. I live off of Tulane Road. I'm part of the pension board for the City of Orange Fire Department. This is a letter to the city. Dear City Council, on behalf of the Orange Firemen's Relief and Retirement Fund, I'm writing to make you aware of a concern that was brought up during our last board meeting. It has come to our attention that the City of Orange is exploring the possibility of hiring outside of the fire department for the soon-to-be vacated position of fire chief. As you know, our private pension is funded entirely from the contributions based on the wages of fire department members. Our concern is that hiring a candidate from outside the fire department will cause us to not only lose a contributing member, but a member that contributes a larger portion compared to the other members of the plan. While we do appreciate the recent contributions increase from the city, our focus is to prevent the situation that required the increase in funding. Our hope is that the fire chief position will be promotion from a current member of the fire department to maintain a similar level of funding from our membership and the city. The pension board understands it is your right to hire who you feel best lead the fire department. We would like to know the city has a plan to supplement our retirement fund if a candidate is hired from outside the fire department. With only 37 members contributing to the fund, we feel that loss of funding from even one member will sidetrack our goal of achieving a fully funded retirement system. In conclusion, this letter is being sent to ensure that the city is aware of our concerns. Our pension fund has experienced great growth in the past few years, and we do not want to lose the progress we have achieved. As we know, a healthy pension will benefit our membership and the city alike. Any feedback from the city will be appreciated. Thank you very much.
Thank you, Mr.
Thank
Maddox. Okay, that's the only name that's on this list, but is there anyone else who would like to address the council? All right. If not, then I will close citizen comments and move to item 5, city announcements, city staff announcements, and city events. Mr. Trahan.
Yes, sir. So Mayor and Council, just a few brief comments acknowledging the CVB staff, all other city departments in terms of the success of our recent Art in the Park and Classic Car Show event, which was held April 2nd. I also want to acknowledge Mr. Tad McKee with the Stark Foundation for approving Stark Park yet again for a very successful event. Thankfully, the weather held out for us. We had many vendors, artists and crafters, 90-plus entries in the car show, and with the resources that the city can bring to it, as well as the funding that you approve as a council, it was a very successful event. So on behalf of the CVB staff, I just want to say thank you for the support, and we look forward to our next event. If you'll save the date, it's May 21st and 22nd, which is the DSRA boat races out at the city boat ramp. That will include 40 to 45 racers coming in from Gulf Coast states, along with a concert by a group called Louisiana Red, which is a 9-piece group that has a brass section. So May 21st, May 22nd, city boat ramp. Thank you.
Okay, thank you, Mr. Trahan. On to item 6.
Mayor.
Oh, I'm sorry.
I've got a
couple
Mr.
announcements.
James.
Mayor and council, I just want to take a chance to introduce our new recreation director to council, Anthony Dandridge.
Good
Good morning.
Welcome. We still have a few weeks, a couple months before we open the recreation center. So.
Yes, good morning. We're actually in the process of hiring for an assistant recreation center director. And right now, we're just in the plans of coming up with the bylaws, the rules and regulations, so that way everybody can have a safe and fun time at the recreation center.
Awesome. Well,
Thank you.
congratulations.
Yes, thank you. Hey, we got one more, Mayor.
Yeah, for those who may not know, the Recreation Center is a very big deal for us. I distinctly remember when we passed that December 4th, 2018, and here we are in 2022, finally seeing that come to light. One of the main things that I love to talk about with the Rec Center is that I call it a generational game changer. Because if it keeps someone out of trouble or someone off the streets, or a mother doesn't lose a child to the justice system, or someone is killed by doing something they had no business, then it's a generational game changer. So I thank the Lord for allowing us to bring this about. So congratulations and welcome to the family. Okay, on to item 6.
Mayor.
Okay, I thought you were item 6. I'm sorry. Okay.
I can see.
Okay, so I'm sorry. More staff announcements and city events, Mr. Nall.
Yes, I'm very pleased to introduce Randy Holman, who is our new building inspector. Randy comes to us from the city of Houston. He was an inspector for the city of Houston. He was born and raised in Orange. He's an Orange native and a graduate of West Orange Stark High School. So we're really glad to have him with us.
Awesome.
Okay.
Congratulations, sir. Yes. And welcome to the team as well.
Welcome home.
Welcome home. There you go. Okay, before I go to item 6,
We done. We're done.
are we sure we good?
Yes, sir. Yes, sir.
Okay, I don't want to get in trouble. Be on KLGT later. All right, item 6. Updated version of the national award-winning video on the City of Orange CDBG program. Ms. Rita Monson.
Yes, this video won us an award last year through the National Development Corporation Association. And we made some updates to it because we have a few new personnel, and so we wanted to show that video right now.
Hi, my name is Larry Spears Jr., and I'm proud to I forgot it was on there. Orange, Texas. I'm here to talk to you today about a wonderful event which will take place April 5th through 9th, and it is the National Community Development Awareness Week. The City of Orange is an entitlement city that benefits from the Community Development Block Program. It is because of these grants that our city is able to assist the citizens of our city. The Community Block grants benefit our low-income citizens, And we have agencies that distribute the grant money and assist people with utilities, rent, tutoring, meals for seniors, mammograms, equine therapy, counseling, and hospice care. These grants also assist our city by repairing water towers, demolition of substandard houses, and updating playgrounds in low-income areas. Without these funds, our city cannot assist our citizens as well as we do. The community development block grants are a huge asset to the city of Orange, and we look forward to the receiving of these grants, which will help us improve our city. The agencies that use the community development block grants include the Orange Community Action Association, or the Meals on Wheels, the Greater Orange Area Literacy Service, or GOLS, Southeast Texas Hospice, Stable Spirit, Jackson Community Center, James Hope Center, Julie Rogers Gift of Life, and Orange Christian Services. This is an amazing program that has done so much for our citizens and our community, and I'm truly grateful and thankful for all who are involved in making this happen for our wonderful citizens. We ask that you please continue to support these wonderful organizations, and we ask you also please continue to uplift our city as we move forward and wait and hope for bigger blessings to come. So thank you for your time today, and I hope to see you all soon. God bless. I forgot I was on the video. Back when I was speeding. Did y'all bring some samples?
Like many such as rental assistance and utility assistance. They also help with food. Another agency is Julie Rogers Gift of Life. They provide mammograms and health screenings for those who are low-income individuals. CDBG has helped to fund many projects in the city of Orange. Pictured here is Mr. One Water Tower, which funds from CDBG help to rehabilitate to ensure clean drinking water for the citizens of Orange. CDBG has also helped to rehabilitate the Cove Water Tower, as well as several playgrounds in the city of Orange.
All right, congratulations.
Thank you. So this week is National Community Development Week. This video we sent to members of Congress and the Senate so they could understand how important CDBG funds are to the local cities. And they continue to give us money, so we're happy about that. At this time, I would like my agencies that are here to please stand up. Let's give them a big round of applause. Thank you.
Thank you, and congratulations to you, Ms. Monson, and all of staff, and Mr. Knopf, all of your staff. Thank you for doing all of this. Wonderful, wonderful. Okay? On to item 6B, National Community Development Week Proclamation. Proclamation from Office of the Mayor from the City of Orange. Whereas the U.S. Department of Housing and Urban Development implemented the Community Development Block Grant Program in 1974 for the purpose of providing local governments with the financial resources to assist low and moderate income persons, and whereas the City of Orange has clearly demonstrated the capacity to administer the CDBG program to identify, prioritize, and resolve pressing local problems, and whereas the CDBG program has made significant impact on our community through nonprofit organizations to address neighborhood and human needs, park and water improvements, and clearance of demolition of dilapidated buildings. Now therefore, I, Larry Spears Jr., Mayor of the City of Orange, Texas, do hereby proclaim the week of April 11th through the 15th, 2022 as National Community Development Week in the City of Orange, and do hereby urge all citizens of the municipality to become aware of and support the Community Development Block Grant Program. Congratulations. All these beautiful ladies, I take a shower today, put on some cologne.
Okay, 1, 2, 3. Please get my thin side. 1, 2, 3.
Have a good day.
Okay, on to item 7, consent agenda. March 8th, 2022, Orange Economic Development Corporation meeting minutes, and March 22nd, 2022, regular city council meeting minutes. Do I have a motion?
Motion.
Second.
Okay, we have a motion and a second. Mr. Burge?
Aye.
Ms. Hennigan?
Aye.
Ms. McKenna?
Aye.
Ms. Salter?
Aye.
Mr. Childs?
Aye.
And Mr. Bailey?
Aye.
Okay, motion passes. On to item 8, ordinances, first reading. Consider an ordinance of the City of Orange, Texas, suspending the rates proposed by CenterPoint Energy Resources Corporation, CenterPoint Energy Intex, and CenterPoint Energy Texas Gas Company's Gas Reliability Infrastructure Program, filing made with the city on March 3rd, 2022, finding that the meeting complies with the Open Meetings Act, making other findings and provisions related to the subject, and declaring an effective date. Mr. Kunst.
Mayor, council, simply put, it is the ordinance which will suspend the CenterPoint rate increase.
Okay. All right. Do we have any any comments or questions? Okay. Do we have a motion?
Motion.
Second.
Okay. We have a motion and a second. Mr. Burge.
Aye.
Ms. Hennigan.
Aye.
Ms. McKenna.
Aye.
Ms. Salter.
Aye.
Mr. Childs.
Aye.
And Mr. Bailey. Okay, item 8B, first reading. Consider an ordinance amending the adopted budget for the fiscal year beginning October 1st, 2021 and ending on September 30th, 2022, in accordance with the charter of the City of Orange, Texas. Ms. Zito.
Yes, good morning, Council, Mayor. This is our semi-annual presentation of our budget amendments that we do every year. Just a reminder, a budget amendment is typically when we have to use the funds reserves. A line item transfers just when we move things around within a budget during a year. On page 25 is our recap. Just shows all the budget amendments in a quick format per fund. The total amount of all the funds for the budget amendments right now is $3 million. It sounds like a lot coming out of reserves, but it was mostly because of rolling forward projects that weren't completed last year. That's just a bookkeeping thing in our system. So say the recreation center, we started it, we budgeted for it, but it wasn't finished. So we have to roll that project forward, so that requires a budget amendment. So the majority of that $3 million was budget amendments, POs and such rolling forward. We did have a few projects in water and sewer. We had some emergency repairs that needed, remember 16th Street, a few of those that they did not have enough money in their budget, so they did have to pull from reserves, but the majority was rolling forward. So, and then page 32 is just our report from our software. And
Okay.
this is just our semi-annual report for this. If you have any questions, I'll be happy to answer them.
Okay, any questions or comments from Ms. Zito? Okay, do we have a motion to approve?
Motion. Second.
Okay, we have a motion and a second. Mr. Burge.
Aye.
Ms. Hennigan.
Aye.
Ms. McKenna.
Aye.
Ms. Salter.
Aye.
Mr. Childs.
Aye.
And Mr. Bailey. Thank you. Motion passes. And for those who are here in attendance that may wonder why some of these things go so quickly when we are reading them, please know that council receives these letters and ordinances and things a week ahead of time. So we're not just discussing it and approving it within 15 seconds. We actually get a chance to get on the phone and talk face to face with Mike, and sometimes close the door and duke it out before we get to this point. But he always wins. Okay. On to item 8B. I'm sorry.
Yes.
9A. I'm at 9A. Okay, 9A, consider a resolution approving an EDC infrastructure grant agreement with Orange Stationer / Dickerson PK Properties, 701 West Division Avenue, Orange, Texas, 77630, for eligible infrastructure improvements in an amount not to exceed $75,000 for the purpose of economic development. First reading was on March 22nd, 2022. Ms. Dallas.
Good morning, Mayor and Council. This is the final step in the EDC process from your position. What this does is positions us when the property owner is ready to come back with all of their receipts. We'll be able to go through that review as well with Cheryl and the rest of the accounting department. And once they're done with all their permits, then they will be reimbursed up to the $75,000 that you all have approved.
Okay. All right. Another wonderful development from the Economic Development Committee. We appreciate it. Okay, do we have a motion?
Motion.
Okay, we have a motion and a second. Mr. Burge.
Aye.
Ms. Hennigan.
Aye.
Ms. McKenna.
Aye.
Ms. Salter.
Aye.
Mr. Childs.
Aye.
And Mr. Bailey. Okay, motion passes. Thank you, Ms. Dallas.
Thank you.
On to item 9B, consider a resolution reaffirming ordinance 1996-6, providing for homestead exemptions on ad valorem taxes for the taxable year 2022. Ms. Zito.
Yes, Mayor. Every year we must reaffirm our homestead exemption that we want to offer to the citizens, and I report that to the tax assessor collector. The current approved exemption is 20%, and if they're over 65 or disabled, is $15,000.
All right, do we have any questions or comments from Ms. Zito? All right, do we have a motion?
Motion.
Okay, we have a motion and a second. Mr. Burge?
Aye.
Ms. Hennigan?
Aye.
Ms. McKenna?
Aye.
Ms. Salter?
Aye.
Mr. Childs?
Aye.
And Mr. Bailey?
Aye.
Okay, thank you. Motion passes. On to item 9C. Consider a resolution of the City Council of the City of Orange, Texas, authorizing the city manager to sign a subordination agreement with Oryx Real Estate Capital LLC, doing business as Lument Capital pertaining to the Orange Arbor Pines Apartments and establishing an effective date. Mr. Knopf.
The city used to be a member of the Home Consortium, and that was a consortium that built low-income housing all over southeast Texas. And one of those projects was the Orange Arbor Pines Apartments, located here in Orange. And although the city ceased to be the legal entity back in 2012, we're still responsible for approving contracts and other things with the entity because it is low-income housing tax credits, and that will expire in 2032. And we have been approached by Oryx to enter into a subordination agreement in which their loan for up to $4 million, our original loan as part of the Home Consortium, will be subordinate to their new loan of up to $4 million. The city attorney has looked at it and he's satisfied with it.
Okay. Any questions or comments? Okay, if not, do we have a motion?
Motion. Second.
Okay, we have a motion and a second. Mr. Burge?
Aye.
Ms. Hennigan?
Aye.
Ms. McKenna?
Aye.
Ms. Salter?
Aye.
Mr. Childs?
Aye.
And Mr. Bailey? Okay, motion passes. Thank you, Mr. Knopf. Item 9D, consider a resolution authorizing the purchase of Tyler Parks and Recreation software from Tyler Technologies in an amount not to exceed $27,000. Mr. Zito.
Yes, Mayor and Council, this is going to be the software for the new rec center for Anthony and his staff to be able to do their job. It's the facility management software to run the facility, memberships, running online registration for events, programs, and then tournaments and things like that. It's and it integrates with our city software that we use right now.
Is it software only, or is there hardware involved in this too?
It's software. It's just software. It will load onto our server.
Okay, any other questions or comments?
Motion.
Okay,
Second.
we have a motion and a second. Mr. Burge?
Aye.
Ms. Hennigan?
Aye.
Ms. McKenna?
Aye.
Ms. Salter?
Aye.
Mr. Childs?
Aye.
And Mr. Bailey?
Aye.
Okay, motion passes.
Thank you.
I've already had a request for the first tournament to be the Guns versus Hoses game in there, I believe. So if the fire department is still up for it, I think the police guys already called y'all out. Okay. Okay, and on to item 10A, PowerPoint presentation, HMGP DR4485, COVID-19 pandemic, ARPA round 1 and 2. Mr. Wolf?
Yes, Mayor, Council, thank you. The handouts show projects that the first plate shows projects that we want to apply for. The second sheet shows ARPA projects that are currently funded and gives you the locations of where those projects are located. But we're real excited about a grant that provides for 90% funding for projects. This is a grant that we will, with your permission and approval, over the next several weeks will be applying for. It's known as the Texas Department of Emergency Management Hazard Mitigation Grant Program COVID-19. And so we have arbitrarily, and it's a great grant, it's 90% funded. So for every $10 we spend, they'll reimburse us $9 out of 10.
Wow.
Great opportunity. We have selected projects, as shown here on plate 1, that total some $5 million. These are projects that, according to their guidelines, would qualify. These are flood protection projects. and there are projects to provide for emergency standby generators, which we need.
Absolutely.
And so these projects are shown on the map. They're identified in the list. The flood control projects are indicated with a red star, and the generators are indicated with a blue star. I'll quickly go through it. I'll start at the north end and work my way to the south. Number one is FM 1130 Chase Ridge Box Culvert. This is a project that we went after before. It's a major drainage structure under Meeks Drive at the main entrance of Chase Ridge, and it handles quite a bit of water. It is currently undersized. We need to make it larger. We estimate that project to be about $500,000 by itself. Number two is Hi-Ho Tally-Ho subdivision, Beagle, Bassett, Huntsman, that whole area. We want to do a drainage study and stormwater improvements to fix the drainage in that area. We annexed that area years ago. In the annexation process, we addressed gravity, sanitary sewer, new water distribution lines with fire hydrants. We provided a sanitary sewer lift station out there, and we improved all the streets. But we have not specifically addressed major improvements, multi-million-dollar improvements to drainage, and we need to do that. So that's a project that would qualify, and that's a project we recommend. The other project we recommend is the big box culvert that crosses MLK at where SRA Canal crosses the MLK Drive. That's another project we went after before that was not approved. And so this is about a $500,000 project as well. It's a project that the Drainage District is in concert with us on. They recognize that improvements need to be made there, and they're on our side to improve that box as well. Both of the boxes, the one at FM 1130 and the box at 3247, is going to have to be coordinated with TxDOT because it's in the TxDOT highway right-of-way. So it's an extra layer or two that we'll have to go through. Number four is the Hillbrook Ditch. It's a main drainage ditch through Hillbrook that will take some vegetation out. We're going to get some complaints for disturbing vegetation, but we can't have our cake and eat it too. We can improve drainage without taking out some of that vegetation, but it will be a new concrete line channel that goes through the heart of Hillbrook. Yes, sir.
That's the one that splits and goes to the outfall that goes into the bottom, correct?
That's correct.
From Bancroft all the way through?
It goes from Sykes Road north to the edge of the subdivision where it then enters the swampland, Adams Bayou.
Okay.
Yes.
Thank you.
It won't go across, or it won't go out into the bayou.
No, but it'll go into that.
It'll go into where it terminates at the end. Yes.
Okay, thank you.
Okay. Number five is our Richard Drive water plant. We have a new elevated water tower out there by JB's Barbecue. Everybody knows where JB's is. And at the base of that tower, we have a new well and new booster pumps. We did that a couple of years back. We need a standby emergency generator out there in case of a hurricane. Number six is the National Guard Armory generator. That would be our stand-up EOC for Public Works, the old National Guard Armory. We have a small, very small generator there. Now it's on its last leg. In fact, it used to be behind the police station that we pulled it out there years ago. We'd like to replace that generator. And then the police station, we want to replace its generator with a newer, more upgraded type generator. So those projects total $5 million, but it will only cost us $500,000 if we're able to qualify and make that application go forward.
Outstanding.
I think that's wonderful.
Absolutely.
That's our recommendation for that. The next agenda item, on your agenda, we'll talk more specifically about your approval for these projects. Okay.
Okay.
The next plate, the second plate, shows the ARPA, the American Rescue Plan Act. We have $4 million in the bank that we got about this time last year. We're expecting another $4 million. So that's $8 million that we don't have to match. Thank goodness, we don't have to match. That, coupled with the $5 million that I just explained to you, that we only have to match 10%, gives us $13 million to work with. So, I mean, that's a windfall for us. Yes. This is a master list of some 31 projects. We show them on the map. They're kind of scattered around town. There's several projects on here that are $1 million projects. For instance, item number 3, the Meeks Drive Water Plant, storage tank and generator. That's going to be a $1.5 million project. It's going to be funded by ARPA. Item number 5 is Greenway Park. That's the hydraulic study, the drainage analysis we're doing out there now, and it will produce a concrete lined channel between Greenway 1 and Greenway 2. I've seen the computer model after the hydraulic runs. It pulls all the water out of those streets, or it pulls them way down into below the curb line. When it rains, we have a heavy rain event now. You know how those Greenway 1 and Greenway 2 floods. This will eliminate probably about 80 to 90% of that standing water. It won't totally get rid of it all. We'll still have some water in the gutter line, but it will pull it way, way down. Number 7 is West Side Water Project. We're phase 2. We're completing West Side Water phase 1. In other words, from the Richard Drive water plant, we're running water down what we call the old SRA canal that will connect basically I-10 Highway 62 with 2-lane road. That's phase 1. From 2-lane road, we're going to continue to take it down on the southwest part of town to Highway 105. That's phase 2, and that's about a $750,000 project. Phase 3 will go from 2-lane road to State Highway 87. So that's a segmented water line improvement for that side of town. Item number 29, all the way down at the bottom, that's going to be about $1.5 million spent in our Jackson Street wastewater treatment plant. Items 12 through 24 are sewer line repairs, spot repairs that we have to fix. We have some in the later agenda items for your approval. We took bids, we took quotes, and we're ready to go forward with some of this rehab work. Okay, so that's where that $8 million right now is going to go. It may not be exactly 31. We may end up with 38 projects, but we're developing, and depends on how well we finance some of these, we'll be able to bid more.
Man, that's awesome.
Yes, sir. So,
Outstanding.
just wanted to let you know what it is that we have on our plate now.
To see 13 million for the price of 500,000 and then maybe even more, that's just amazing. We thank you, Mr. Wolf, you and your department. One of the things that I was looking at too is, I remember a couple of months back, the ones that are on Westway, that was the story that was on the news like 3 times in 1 week.
Yes.
And the Claremont edition. So to see all of that getting fixed as well.
Yes.
That's wonderful. Thank you.
Mayor, a couple comments. And again, appreciate Jim mentioning that, that other funding source, there is a match. The ARPA, there is not a match. But as y'all all remember, and when we all remember, there are still strings attached to all these. We've got to do everything a certain way so that they don't just give us $4 million and another $4 million. We still got to make sure, it's eligible projects, and we procure and we do all these things the right way. So it's still a slow process. So, but I will say, you know, since I've been here the last 3 years, you know, I've asked Jim where we kind of develop these projects. You know, he's been our public works director for over 20 years. And so, you know, we lean on him, his knowledge and experience, the staff, the council. We listen to y'all year round. We listen to the citizens year round. That's where he kind of develops these projects as we move forward.
Well, thank you. Thank you, Mr. Wolf.
Yes, sir.
I know we talked about a lot of these when we had got the first part of the ARPA fund, and then to see the rest of it now come forth, greatly appreciate that. Yep. Any comments or questions for Mr. Wolf? Yep.
What's the time frame for getting started on these projects, or is this within so many years?
Well, we're getting started really right now.
Oh, okay.
Several of the following agenda items will, with your approval, will move forward and issue contracts.
Okay.
So, yeah, we're moving forward, and I would say in the next, you know, these 31 projects, we hope to really have at least advertised probably over the next year.
Really?
Yeah.
Wow. Wow.
Outstanding.
It's a process. We have to develop the plans and advertise, bring it back for your approval, award.
Yes, sir.
But over the next 12 to 18 months, we hope to have these out the door.
Wow. Great game plan.
Yeah.
Well, the main
Thank
thing
you.
is the process started.
That's the main thing.
Mm-hmm.
Yes.
And the main thing is to get this hazard mitigation grant application in on these projects that we talked about.
Well, after we push this through, y'all can head on back and go push the enter button, whatever you got to do. Okay, so that's just discussion and action. There's no votes to be taken, but once again, thank you, Mr. Wolf, Mr. Ingram, and to all of you and your staff. We now move on to item 12A. Consider a resolution
Mayor,
awarding,
11, please. 11A.
Sorry. Oh, I'm sorry. Discussion 11A, discussion and possible action on recommended projects for the HMGP DR-4485 COVID-19 pandemic. Mr. Wolf.
Yes, Mayor, Council. This just reaffirms what we presented in the first plate, and that is this is our recommendation and the approximate money amounts that it will take to get these projects out the door and on the ground and in reality. So we recommend the projects numbered 1 through 7 for your approval, and we will instruct our grant administrator to make applications specifically for these projects. Our pre-approved engineers, our pre-certified engineers that we had pre-certified months ago will help the application, will help in the application process. They'll fill out the necessary forms to support these cost estimates.
Okay.
And if I may, Mayor, so the question no one asks is where are we getting that $500,000? If you recall last budget season, I discussed with y'all where we had what I consider some excess funds in the reserve fund, and that we had this 3-year plan, basically spending an additional $600,000 for the next 3 years. And so it'd be my recommendation as Cheryl and I and the staff move through the budget season coming up this summer, that we take that $500,000 out of, if you will, year 2 of the 3-year plan to spend down the reserve fund.
So this is what you talked about during the budget?
Last year, correct.
Good enough.
So if somebody says, where's that money coming from? We have it.
Right.
And so that we'd just like to use it from there.
Okay. All right. Anything else? All right. Do we have so we're going to vote on this one. Do we have it says possible action.
I think we're okay.
We're okay?
Action-wise, we just move forward. And then,
Okay,
because
we'll
we're
just
going to bring
move
these
forward?
back to you individually.
Sounds good. Well, thank you, Mr. Wolf. Okay, now we'll move on to item 12A. Consider a resolution awarding a contract to Bernuchuk's contractor in an amount not to exceed $31,995 for bid 2022-21 classifier in connection with American Rescue Plan Act ARPA funds. Mr. Wolf. Mr. Ingram.
Yes, sir. This is a process upgrade for the grit removal system in the wastewater plant. It removes non-biological sand from the process and helps us throughout our entire system without collecting sand in it.
Okay. Any questions or comments for Mr. Ingram? Okay, do I have a motion?
Motion.
Second.
We have a motion and a second. Mr. Burge.
Aye.
Ms. Hennigan.
Aye.
Ms. McKenna.
Aye.
Ms. Salter.
Aye.
Mr. Childs.
Aye.
And Mr. Bailey.
Aye.
Okay, motion passes. On to item 12B, consider a resolution awarding a contract to Erie Barron, Inc. in an amount not to exceed $17,500 for bid 2022-22 Simmons Drive Lift Station in connection with American Rescue Plan Act, ARPA funds. Mr. Ingram.
Yes, Mayor, Council. This is to replace a roughly 80 feet of force main that had ruptured, and when we got down to the rupture, we found that it had been patched several times before. So we're going to replace from the lift station out 80 feet and to put in a new bypass and air check so that we won't have to worry with that for a rather long time.
Okay.
All right.
I make a motion. Second.
Okay, we have a motion and a second. Mr. Burge.
Aye.
Ms. Hennigan.
Aye.
Ms. McKenna.
Aye.
Ms. Salter.
Aye.
Mr. Childs.
Aye.
And Mr. Bailey.
Aye.
Okay, motion passes. On to item 12C. Okay, consider a resolution awarding a contract to Erie Barn, Inc. in an amount not to exceed $11,500 for bid 2022-23 Sunset Oaks manhole repairs in connection with American Rescue Plan Act, ARPA funds. Mr. Ingram.
Yes, Mayor. This is a manhole similar to the 16th and Burton situation. Very, very old, collapsing, sucking in a man's backyard. It also services the neighborhood right beside Tia Juanita's and a big apartment complex. So this is something we recommend jumping on rather quickly.
Make a motion.
Second.
Okay, we have a motion and a second. Mr. Burge.
Aye.
Ms. Hennigan.
Aye.
Ms. McKenna.
Aye.
Ms. Salter.
Aye.
Mr. Childs.
Aye.
Mr. Bailey. Motion passes, and thank you for that. When I received several calls and went and looked, that was pretty bad.
Yes, sir.
He had it covered with wood, but that hole was pretty bad. Okay. On to item 12D, consider a resolution awarding a contract to Erie Barn, Inc. in an amount not to exceed $291,270 for bid number 2022-24, alternate bid A spot repair in connection with American Rescue Plan Act, ARPA funds. Mr. Ingram.
Yes, if you would look at your page 2 on your handouts, there'd be 12 to 17 or 6 of the worst cave-in spot repair areas. We figure that they'll be the critical repairs before we do more repair in the area. And it's just collapsed pipe, collapsed connections, and we need to take that step first.
Okay. All right.
Make a
I'll
motion.
Okay, we have a motion
Second.
and a second. Mr. Burge.
Aye.
Ms. Hennigan.
Aye.
Ms. McKenna.
Aye.
Ms. Salter.
Aye.
Mr. Childs.
Aye.
And Mr. Bailey.
Aye.
Okay, motion passes. Thank you, Mr. Ingram. On item 13A, consider a motion acknowledging revisions made to Exhibit A of Resolution 2022-11, ordering the May 7th, 2022 City of Orange general election. These revisions include change of location of one of the early voting locations, adding a voting location on Election Day, and adding the names of the judges, alternate judges, early voting judges, and early voting clerk for the election. Mr. Coombs.
Mayor, Council, so again, the changes for the early voting location, which anybody in Orange County can vote at any early voting location, but it is going from the Orange County Airport to the Bridge City ISD Administration Building. And then on Election Day, Box 12 will be at West Orange Stark High School. And then also, this names the judges and the folks who are working at those different places.
Okay. Do we have any questions or comments? Okay, if there are no questions or comments, any motion?
Motion.
Second.
Motion and a second. Mr. Burge.
Aye.
Ms. Hennigan.
Aye.
Ms. McKenna.
Aye.
Ms. Salter.
Aye.
Mr. Childs.
Aye.
And Mr. Bailey.
Aye.
Okay, item passes. On to item 13B, consider a motion approving the resignation of Michael Smith from the Orange EDC Board of Directors effective April 12th, 2022. Mr. Trahan.
Yes, sir. Mayor, Council, at this morning's EDC board meeting, Mr. Michael Smith, who serves a citizen at large position on the EDC Board of Directors, formally announced his resignation as a result of a relocation not only out of the city but out of Orange County as well. And at a later date, he does plan to relocate back and continue his service at some level. So I want to publicly acknowledge and thank him for his years of service to the EDC board, and secondly, as an investor in the city of Orange with the Water Tree project on Highway 87, 16th Street. So I'll turn it back over to you, Mayor.
Okay. Yep, Mr. Smith did a wonderful job. We definitely appreciate him. And do I have a motion to approve?
Motion. Second.
We have a motion and a second. Mr. Burge?
Aye.
Ms. Hennigan?
Aye.
Ms. McKenna?
Aye.
Ms. Salter?
Aye.
Mr. Childs?
Aye.
And Mr. Bailey?
Aye.
Okay, motion passes. On to item 13C. Consider a motion appointing Matthew Chandler to the Orange EDC Board of Directors for a term with effective dates of April 12th, 2022 through September 30th, 2023. Mr. Trahan.
Yes, sir. So as a result of Mr. Michael Smith's resignation, then it created the opportunity for this opening, of which Mr. Matthew Chandler formally submitted his application. I would like to acknowledge that he is with us today. He's up in the upper section of the council chamber with his family, I believe. And like Michael Smith, he's also an investor in the city of Orange, where he has an office, professional office, on 16th Street near the Clarin Company. So that being said, he is open to your nomination and available to serve beginning with the next EDC board meeting, subject to your approval.
I'll make a motion.
Okay, we have a motion and a second from Mr. Burge and Ms. Hennigan. Mr. Burge?
Aye.
Ms. Hennigan?
Aye.
Ms. McKenna?
Aye.
Ms. Salter?
Aye.
Mr. Childs?
Aye.
Mr. Bailey?
Aye.
Okay, motion passes. Congratulations,
Thank
Mr.
you.
Chandler, and welcome to the Orange EDC Board. Okay. On to item 13D. Consider a motion to accept the resignation of Mary E. Kena from the Citizens Advisory Committee due to her moving to Beaumont. Ms. Monson.
Yes, we had just reinstated her term in February, but she had failed to let me know then that she had moved out of the city. So we were getting ready to do our grant year 2022 booklets, and that's when she told me she had moved to Beaumont, and she sent the letter of resignation.
Okay. All right. Well, we appreciate her honesty. We have a motion?
Motion. Second.
Okay, we have a motion and a second. Mr. Burge?
Aye.
Ms. Hennigan?
Aye.
Ms. McKenna?
Aye.
Ms. Salter?
Aye.
Mr. Childs?
Aye.
And Mr. Bailey?
Aye.
Okay, motion passes. Item 13E, consider a motion appointing LaToya Overstreet to the Citizens Advisory Committee for a term expiring April 12th, 2026. Ms. Monson.
Yes, LaToya had put in her application to be on the CAC. Everything was approved through the city, and we would like to have her on our committee.
Okay.
Make a motion.
Okay, we have a motion and a second. Mr. Burge?
Aye.
Ms. Hennigan?
Aye.
Ms. McKenna?
Aye.
Ms. Salter?
Aye.
Mr. Childs?
Aye.
And Mr. Bailey?
Aye.
Okay, motion passes. Congratulations to Ms. LaToya Overstreet. And item 13F, we will now turn to Councilmember Mr. Bailey. Discussion of filling fire chief position, where we are in process, and future items with this process. Mr. Bailey.
Yes, Mr. Mayor, I want to voice my concern as to how this situation started, the process started. I think that we should have looked in-house before you go looking out of the house. We pay for a lot of education for the firemen and policemen, and I think it's time that we got a little return on our money, our investment. I think it sends a negative sight to the employees there. We have a small fire department. They're relatively young. They are underpaid. And I've had listened to people say, well, they want to do away with the good old boy system, and there's nothing burns me worse than that, because you don't have a good old boy system anymore with the fire department or the police department. They have to have continuing education just to keep their job. I think it reflects very well on the city, the council, the city manager, that for 152 years, we've never went outside to seek a fire chief. We have a fire chief that's leaving us, going to be very sorely missed, and his recommendation should be fine with everyone. He's been here for 53 years. He's been the fire chief for 25 years. I don't think it reflects good on us that we don't pay attention to the man's recommendation. And like I said, it sends a very negative message to the firemen. Everyone works at a job, they want to better themselves. When the city went to civil service, that took away all the good old boy stuff. You have to do your continuing education as the years go by. If we can't go inside our own house to find somebody, and I think that the chief would have been the first one to come down here and tell us, you need to go outside. We don't have anybody qualified to fill that position. There's not a doubt in my mind the man would have come and told the city manager and the council, we need to advertise. What we've done here, and I asked the city manager not to do what he did, we should have looked in-house before we ever opened it to outside the department. I just think that in the future, and I understand the city manager, he does all the hiring and firing, but there's two positions that the council should have a very strong voice in. That's the fire chief and the police chief. And in our ordinance, our bylaw, our charter, it does say that the city manager, with the advice and consent of the council, shall appoint a fire chief. So, I guess the best way to sum it up is we should not have done what was done. We should have looked in-house before we went outside. It doesn't send a good message to the firemen. We work here, and at some point, we may be able to move up. And like I said, I think that reflects good on the council, the city manager, and the city. The fact that we've never went outside for 152 years to hire a fire chief. It shows the quality of people that we hire here, and it shows the devotion of the guys that work here that don't get paid as much as the rest of the firemen in the Golden Triangle, but they like the work environment, and we should all be proud of every man that dons a fire suit or a policeman that puts on a gun and a badge. That's my feelings.
Mayor, I'd like to add to that,
Okay.
if possible.
It's an open discussion.
I've done some research on this, and since 1930, the city of Orange has set a precedent of succession planning for the advancement and promotion within the city of Orange Fire Department, including but not limited to the position of the city's fire chiefs. Our fire chiefs that were paid from 1930 on were Chief Sanders, Chief Smith, Chief Sands, Chief Stanford, Chief Girlinghouse, Chief Wimberly, and our esteemed Chief David Frenzel up there. Succession planning is a process, is a planning process. One, firefighters develops their skills, knowledge, abilities, and prepares them for the advancement of promotion to the more challenging roles. Actively pursuing succession planning ensures that firefighters are constantly developed to fill each needed position. We're in the process of doing that. Each one of these gentlemen worked their way up. Advancement is key to the City of Orange Fire Department. Every firefighter is offered the means to advance in their career. Their advancement levels of the department are as follows. They start off as a firefighter, they become a captain, they become battalion chief / fire marshal, deputy chief, then chief. That's a form of succession. That's the precedent that the fire department has set. I don't understand the reason for breaking a 92-year-old tradition. The difference between my timeline and Mr. Bailey's timeline is the paid fire chief started 92 years ago. If our fire personnel are not qualified, I'd like to know why. Council has been kept in the dark on this. If there is a law concerning promoting from within, I would like to know why that as well, because if not, it affects the morale of the fire department, as they're trying to move up. When Chief Frenzel decided to retire, we had someone second in line. The city invested, bear with me. The city invested $19,338 in Deputy Chief Leanne Brown's training and qualifications to follow in succession and become chief. With no clear reassurances that her tradition would be continued, we lost a fine candidate to the petrochemical industry. That was almost a waste of $20,000. Now we have Marshal John Bilbo. We spent $13,700 on this gentleman to advance him in the Orange Fire Department. And if I understand correctly, his qualifications are higher than the minimum requirements set forth by the city staff. I don't know one firefighter in the city of Orange that would not follow Mr. Bilbo into the fire. Food for thought, in 2014, the past city manager at that time suggested to all department heads to consider succession planning to aid the city in running seamlessly as people retired. I don't see this as a priority anymore, but I do think it is an idea that we should be revisited by this city, citywide, every department. Oh, and back to the ordinance, as Councilman Bailey pointed out, it says the fire chief shall be appointed with the advice and consent of city council. I was not approached for my advice on this position whatsoever.
Okay, we'll go down, yeah.
Okay. This is how I feel. Definitely, I believe that it's important that we should allow our chief to make a recommendation, but I also feel that it's important to also be open to outsiders. And the reason why, I believe in advancement. I believe that if you have somebody there and you are recommended to have that position, then that should be looked into. But I also believe in opportunity. It's not fair to other people, to me, that's outside who want an opportunity to also have this position as well. I mean, at the end of the day, who is qualified and who everyone decides would be a best fit for the city, that's who would get the position. I believe we should always be open to outsiders as well. And like I said, I do believe that there is an opportunity, or we should also look for advancement, but who's to say? Some may want that position, some may feel that they are comfortable where they are and they don't really want to advance. I mean, you just can't push somebody into a position just to push them there. They have to be comfortable, and just because they've been firefighters forever doesn't necessarily mean that they want to advance, to me. I mean, I don't know. I just believe, you know, let's look at an opportunity that's fair to everyone, to me. That's just my opinion.
We haven't had anybody say they didn't want to advance. Everybody is in line wanting to move up. If we didn't have someone wanting to move up or not qualified, your statement would be valid.
Well, my thing is, though, still, when you don't have something that's open to everyone, say you have 9 people, you have 9 firefighters, I'm gonna just call out a number, and you have 9 firefighters, but you also, I mean, they will be the only ones to ever advance in this position or in this department, because no one else is allowed to come in. I mean, I'm just saying, I just think that it's just a, I don't know.
Terry, if it's not broke, why try to fix it?
But, so I'll never have an opportunity. If I was a firefighter, I lived somewhere else, and I came into this area, and I feel that I'm qualified. You don't know me, but I'm qualified as well, but I've moved to this location to be a citizen in the community, and so you won't give me an opportunity because I didn't work there?
Well, how do you propose to allow someone or tell someone because there's somebody outside? All these young men that work there for a reason. And what you're saying is pushing somebody. I don't think anybody's trying to push anybody anywhere. My whole point behind this is if you have somebody in your house that wants a job, he's overly qualified, he should get the job. You should pay a man that's been 20 years, he's invested in this city, and you're going to tell him, well, you're qualified, but let's see if we can bring somebody fresh in.
No, I didn't necessarily say that. What I'm saying is, though, you're closing the door on an opportunity for someone else if they are qualified as well. You don't know if they would be a great fit. It should be left up to those who are in charge of picking that particular person. To me, I mean, I just feel like if you close the door, what if every business did that? Then no one would ever have an opportunity to get anywhere. I wouldn't have an opportunity to work for the city, or anyone would not have an opportunity if they always advanced within their house, but they never had the door open for other people. I'm just saying, I think you should be open to at least have an open door, and if that is who they choose, someone in-house, that's fine. But to have an opportunity to have that door open says that we are fair. We are open to anyone who has a desire to have this position. When you say that we can only pick within the house, you are closing the door saying that we're only going to use who we have and no one else is eligible, ever.
That's not the point here.
That's what happens.
Well, let me go and see, is there anyone down here? Any comment?
No.
I'm not saying that we don't use someone. I don't want them to take it in the wrong way, that I don't want someone to advance. If you're chosen, and that's what the people who are in charge that are choosing feel and take the recommendation of the chief, then so be it. But I'm just saying, you should always, if you were outside of this and you was not the fireman that were actually in this position, in this department, and you come from a whole nother city to move your family here for whatever reason, and you are a firefighter, and you are just as qualified as the people that are already in the department, why shouldn't you also have an opportunity? You can't have an opportunity because you're new here, and they don't know you, and you never was here? I just feel that that's not fair. We have to sometimes look and put ourselves in a position that we're not in. We have to put ourselves in a position that's outside of the box and just say, hey, we understand, we just want to be fair. And if we go with the recommendation, so be it. I just think that we shouldn't, to be fair, that we shouldn't have a closed door.
But that person needs to join the fire department then. He doesn't need to join at the top level. The local city hired a fire chief, and now they're paying the penalty for it. We have two people that are overqualified from what our criteria are to apply for this position. If we didn't have that, it would make sense what you're saying. But if we're getting a fire chief from some other towns like College Station or Pearland that's coming to our area to make less pay, there's most likely a defect in that chief. Does that make sense?
I mean, I understand what you're saying, but if someone is qualified, if they have worked their way up and they are qualified, and say another person just moved to the area and he has the same, he's been in there the same amount of years, he has done exactly the same, he just moved here, you don't think he's qualified? Because he didn't work in
what does that do to the morale of these gentlemen over here that have worked their way up, knowing they were headed to that position?
What I'm just saying.
What you're saying is correct. If we promoted from within, then you're looking at hiring a couple of firemen as everyone that moves forward. You don't start at the top.
That's not what I'm saying. I
That's
just
exactly what you're
said,
saying.
I just said if he came to this city
And what
and he
did
has
Brad
the
just
same
say?
seniority, the same exact seniority as another firefighter that's there, able to move up, and he was able to move up, but he located here. So you're saying that they don't have the same opportunity because they did not work in the
that if you do that,
department.
if you're so set that you want to give everybody a shot from the outside, what kind of message are you sending to the people that work here, that live here, that send kids to school here? What are you're saying, well,
Giving
we
them an
appreciate you 20
opportunity.
years, but there's somebody that moved in and we want to give them a shot.
Giving
Don't
them
work
the
like that.
same opportunity does not mean that they're necessarily hired. It is left up to the people that are actually doing the hiring.
This department has had almost 100 years of succession planning. Okay, so in the last year and a half, we decided we're not going to do it the way it's been done for almost 100 years. That's a century. Okay, and like Councilman Bailey said, 150 years if you consider the non-paid fire department why would you want to break tradition on that? These gentlemen joined years ago knowing that we did succession. They've set a precedence. It's not something new.
I'm not saying that, I'm just saying we have to evolve. Sometimes just because you've been doing something 100 years, there's been a lot of things that we have done for 100 years that is not right. So we don't keep doing something because we've been doing it for 100 years.
Okay, let's go it this way. If you're going to bring in this person from outside and you're going to be on the selection committee, what do you know about the fire department? I'm going with this with a reason. What do you know about the fire department? Nothing, right? Okay, staff is picking this person without Chief Frenzel sitting in as a committee member. At least put that gentleman on the staff so he knows what his department can do. Does it make sense on that?
Well, Chief needs to be, that's what I said, he should have a part in the recommendation.
He does not.
Well, I'm saying he still should have a part in the recommendation.
I agree with you 100%.
Yes, I do believe that. So that's what I'm saying. At the end of the day, the committee chooses the person. But I still feel that it should always be open. It's not fair to close something. To me, it gives a bad image, and it shows, it just shows that we're not really what we say we are. We are a city that's friendly, we're open to new people, and all of those things. When we are hiring somebody, we are making a statement, and we have to be open and fair. He should also be on the committee. Because,
he's not.
Well, I'm just saying, he should.
Okay, so let's do this, because this is just discussion and action. Nothing's gonna happen.
No.
So we can argue till 9 p.m. if we want about who feels that they're right. So we went 1, 2, 3. You said you don't want to say anything?
No.
You're good, you're good. I will say something because I know people are probably like, what's Doobie gonna say? But my thing is I understand what you're saying, Mr. Bailey. I understand and hear what you're saying, and I understand what you're saying. My thing is that I want the gentlemen to know, because they're in here, I've spoken with a few of them before on other things. And one of the things that I've always said to y'all is, not just but we will always work to never hurt anyone, right? Every time something's happened, every time something's come up in the last 8 years, in the last 4 years as mayor, I've never screwed you over, and I promise to never see that happen. There's a lot of tension, there's a lot of heat. People are upset about the way the process went, but I understand what Mr. Bailing is saying about we should look in-house. However, the one thing that I will say is no one has been chosen yet. So no one outside of our in-house has been chosen. Maybe let's just let the process go through. If there are some things that we think should have happened differently, let's just remember that thanks to our chief being as awesome as he is, this hasn't happened since I was like -13. So no one here really knows how to handle this, right? So I don't want y'all to think that we don't care. We care. We argue in here behind closed doors about how much to pay you, how much to give you extra each year. Everyone up here cares. But I do understand and respect and honor Mr. Childs and Mr. Bailey. I thank you, Mr. Bailey, for bringing this up, because I do want everyone to always feel that their opinion is important. Chief Frenzel, if you have felt slighted, I will stand, because I respect you that much, and sincerely and wholeheartedly apologize to you if you feel that way, because that's how I operate. We tell you that we put God first, that's no joke to me. So I thank you for what you've done. If you have felt slighted, then I apologize. However, I will say once again, and I'll let anyone else make any more comments before we close it out, that we will work to ensure that this process is handled properly. I appreciate everyone's opinion, but I want you to know that we do love, we do care, and we want what is best for this city. So if there are any more comments, I'll let you speak, and then we'll go to our next agenda item. Anything, anybody? All right. Okay, with that, we will move to, and that was a discussion, so there was no action to be taken. So item 14, city manager report.
Mayor, council, just a reminder, 2 reminders. Friday is a city holiday. observation of Good Friday, so city offices will be closed. Police, fire will still be doing their regular thing. Waste management will have regular pickup. And then the last week of April, those dates are April 26th, which is a Tuesday, April 28th, which is a Thursday, then April 30th, which is a Saturday, in different times. But there is going to be a Orange County Levy Project, or whatever the correct name is, open house. I encourage everybody to try to attend one of those meetings. The one that is Thursday, April the 28th, will be at the American Legion Hall, just here on Green, and that begins at 5. The one on Tuesday, the 26th, is in Bridge City. The one April 30th is at the Orange County EOC FM 1442, and we'll post those dates and times. But again, Thursday, April 28th, beginning at 5, the American Legion Hall. So I encourage everybody to go down there and kind of get some information about the levy proposed. I'm sorry?
What time does that start?
5.
5.
Yeah.
Okay.
That's it.
All right. So starting with city council report, Mr. Bailey.
Everything's going pretty good, as far as I can tell in my district. So I have nothing to report.
Okay, Mr. Childs.
No report.
Okay, Ms. Salter.
No report.
Okay, Ms. McKenna.
Oh, I have a bunch to report. It was so exciting for Art in the Park and the car show. I just want to say thanks to all the city employees who were out there all day long, and the day before and the day after, and did a wonderful job. It was a great show. I think it was one of the biggest ever, and I try to go every time I can. COVID kind of knocked us flat for a while, but I think we're back more than ever. So it was really, really great. Mr. Wolf, the drainage, and Mr. Ingram, the drainage, 13 million on drainage. Hallelujah. Orange, Texas, thanks you. You are the best. Good for you. Chief Frenzel, retiring after 53 years, 25 years at the top of the fire department. Thank you so much for your service to the city, sir. I appreciate you. And last but surely not least, early voting is April 25th to the 29th. May 2nd and 3rd, and the election day is May 7th. It is our right to vote, and we are free, we can vote, and it is a great privilege, I think. Looking at Ukraine, it tells us what freedom means to us. So exercise your right and vote. However you feel about how you want to vote, please vote.
Congratulations, Chief Frenzel, on your retirement. Welcome, Mr. Dandridge, to Orange. And Mr. Wolf, thank you for all the extensive research and pinpointing the areas of drainage where we need improvement. Thank you.
I have a couple of concerns/complaints. I had some citizens come see me at the salon about there's a street over Childress that they believe businesses are being run out of. Some homes there, like 8 or 10 cars, in the yards, down the streets, but there's a couple of homes on that. And then on 10th Street, coming up from 10th Street and Cordray, it looks like somebody has unloaded a trailer of lumber, shingles, windows, all kind of stuff on side of the street. So that would have taken a lengthy process for somebody to unload lowboy trailer of trash on the side of the road. I think it's coming from, and I looked this morning, it's coming from 10th up to Cordray, right there on the right-hand side. So anyway, I'm reporting that, so that's it. That's it.
All right. I will, before we go to executive session, I just do want to say a few words. Thank you to everyone that came today. It's really wonderful to have people in attendance so that they can see that it's not always just, hey, we're bringing in new business, that when you are experiencing what Orange is going through, in my opinion, not just because I'm the mayor here right now, I feel like we're seeing growth that we haven't seen in several decades. I think that we're seeing the mindset and the changing of people that we have not seen in several decades. One of the things that happens with change is that some days are going to be cool and smooth, and some days are going to be hot. Some days are going to be rough, and some days are going to be like, hey, it's all great. But one thing that I want us to all know is that no matter of opinions, no matter of what we have seen or what may have happened that may not have been done properly or would have made people feel some kind of way, is I will continue to reiterate, as long as I am in this seat, that in Orange, we put Christ first in all that we do. We love people where they are for who they are, and we will let God handle the rest. That's my approach on it. I do love you all, and I never want anyone to think that we are up here trying to just run things or do, as we wish. Because I live here. I just went to Disney 2 weeks ago. I'm broke. I don't have any extra money. We're not doing anything that I know of. I'm not doing anything. I know council members. We don't get. I make $6 a day. They make like $3 a day. After taxes, it's nothing a day. So we're here because we love. We are here because we want better. So to Mr. Bailey, thank you again. I do appreciate you and I honor you. Mr. Childs, the same. Ms. Salter, Ms. McKenna, like she always says, vote early and vote often. Ms. Hennigan and Mr. Birch, thank you for all that you do. And to staff, thank you as well. We will continue to push and we will be better than we were the day before. So, but now we will adjourn to close executive session. Deliberation with city attorney pursuant to chapter 551 of the Texas Government Code. Deliberation with legal counsel pursuant to Texas Government Code section 551.071. Consultation with attorney regarding pending or contemplated litigation. Everett Green versus the City of Orange. At this time, you can hang out outside, talk about what all happened just now, or you can go kick it in the library, and we'll let you know when we reconvene. Hey, thank y'all for coming back in, but this is the part you can be like, what? Okay, reconvene in open session, take action as necessary regarding item 15A above. There's no action to be taken. Do I have a motion to adjourn?
Motion.
Okay, all in favor say aye.
Aye.
Meeting adjourned. Yay, we made it.